Here is London, giddy London, is it hard or free or wild?
It's funny how this area has completely changed recently, because I used to live down yonder, and we went walking last night and everything's just completely unrecognisable almost.
He could spend the next 30 years in LA, but he's always going to be too English for the Yanks and for most of the English.
Trumpers.
Morrissey is back in London, visiting his favourite gentleman's barbers in Mayfair.
Fascinating hunting pictures around the wall, you know. There's always a fly in the ointment. I think they're going to give me a trim and possibly just a slap around the face. Facial. Hello.
Nice to meet you, I'm Kieran.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. Wow.
So much for London, come with the class, outrageous and free. You are depressed, but you're in markedly dressed, that's all you need. But you're just too busy, really busy, busy, hairdresser on fire, stoned around, stoned where?
So where do you normally live then?
I normally live in Los Angeles. If you can call it normal living.
Quite lively, is it?
Oh, yeah, but I'm not. I'm going to have to take over.
It's kind of like a maintenance routine with Morrissey.
And watch the magic.
He's undoubtedly very vain and spends an awful lot of time in front of the mirror with a hairdryer and a New York Dolls CD.
Everybody has their own techniques. Shazam.
He probably finds himself the most attractive person that you could possibly meet.
Why meddle with a masterpiece? That's all I can say.
Like him or loathe him, I think his face is really imprinted upon our consciousness because he's incredibly photogenic. I mean, I've taken photographs just of the back of Morrissey's neck and people have still known it's Morrissey.
I just think Morrissey's sexy, full stop, really. I think whether he's on stage performing or just a photograph of him, I mean, you know, whew.
There was just this glorious moment where I think Morrissey was sunbathing, very snoozy, very sleepy. Suddenly these beautiful rays were falling through, I think it was sort of an awning overhead. Slightly more up over there. And just managed to get this with these glorious sort of zebra-like op-art stripes. I think Morrissey can play with notions of camp very, very consciously, very, very knowingly. He's very articulate, I think, in what is and what isn't camp.
The homoerotic content of the imagery is absolutely manifest, and to deny it would be extremely foolish.
I don't know what homoerotic is. I mean, I know what erotic is. I don't know what hetero... I've never heard anybody say heteroerotic. So I don't know what homoerotic means.
He may be famous for being outspoken, but when it comes to himself, Morrissey is fiercely private.
Well, I mean, absolutely nothing does he give away about himself, is my experience. Not a jot. I think the only personal detail I managed to get out of Morrissey in probably a couple of hours of conversation was the fact that he liked Coronation Street.
And he's never more ambiguous than on the subject of his sexuality.
One thing you never asked, and that's about his sexuality.
And I'm not going to.
Morrissey's sexuality was so picked over by the press in the early days that I think he has stopped. I think it's just boring more than anything else.
I don't think it's anybody's business, really. I just don't. I can't see when it becomes anybody's business. And I can't see other people talking about sex and sexuality, really, and what turns them on and turns them off. So I can't think of any reason why I should. It doesn't help me. People can think what they like.
It's almost like more regal not to let anybody know, isn't it, really?
I think he's interested in preserving the mystique that allows him, that kind of ambiguity. And frankly, good luck to him. Why the hell shouldn't he do that?
Why have you never actually put the record straight?
Well, I don't see any crooked record. People think they know, people think they understand, and it doesn't bother me in the least what people think. And there's nothing that people can think of me in that direction that would embarrass me. I don't really care what people think. I really don't. It doesn't affect me. And I'm not hiding anything.
If he could sit in an interview and say, you know, I am XYZ, he would love to do it. He would love to have that answer. He doesn't know. He's genuinely unsure about the whole world of intimacy and sexuality and relationships.
I'm writing this to say, in a gentle way, thank you, but no. I will live life as I will undoubtedly die alone.
For Morrissey, loneliness is a threat, a promise, and a validation of who he is.
It's a chosen aloneness. I think Morrissey is very, very much, so much his own person that it's, you know, it takes a lot to find somebody else that, you know, can live harmoniously with that certainty.
Some people can't stand reflection, and they can't stand to be faced with their own company. But that's never remotely bothered me.
Did you ever imagine living with someone?
No, I couldn't really imagine it. I couldn't imagine why it would even take place, really. I just couldn't imagine being with somebody. I don't think human beings are meant to live together. I really don't. I don't think human beings get on in any capacity.
He now finds himself equally isolated in the music industry. Despite plenty of new material, he's yet to agree a new record deal.
You have never been in love until you've seen the stars reflected in the reservoirs.
The music business has changed now, man. It's like it's full of fucking wankers, right? If they can't flog your ass, then they ain't giving you a record deal. If they can't sell you to little kids who don't know shit from clay, they will not fucking take a chance on you.
Hector was the first of the gang with a gun in his hand, and the first to do time, the first of the gang to die. Oh, who am I?
I think it's absolutely obscene that he's without a record deal. I can't believe it. It's disgusting.
All he would have to do is meet one person at the record company that he didn't like, and he just would, that'd be it. He wouldn't consider it.
I find the fact that he hasn't got a record deal at the moment enormously seductive. It makes me want to give him a nice big cuddle, because he's managed to alienate so many people in what, after all, is an uncreative and uninteresting industry.
People see me as pushing against the grain, and it's the ingredients of being the outsider's outsider, and for want of a triter term, I fall into the rebel category, authentically so.
I think he likes a row, and I think he likes to stir it up, and I think he likes friction. That's why I like to see him on the radio next to Britney Spears and Limp Bizkit, because there's a row brewing, just him being there.
His work will last, And I'm quite sure he believes that as well. I have a very strong sense that he knows that as well.
You don't know this person, but you feel like there's a bit of a soulmate wandering around who's actually giving you great pleasure, you know.
The pleasure and the privilege is mine.
He's fucking revered, man. Because his records will be listened to for the, you know, until George Bush blows the planet up, I would have thought.
I've left my fingerprints somewhere. That's good enough. I'm my own person. And that's good enough. And I stand my ground. That's good enough.
Baby, you understand me now. If sometimes you see that I'm mad.
If you'd like to win the entire Smiths and Morrissey back catalogue, go to channel4.com/music. Next Sunday at 11:15, the truth about Whitney Houston. Now, coming up next on 4, in place of the cricket, an imaginary soccer team from hell in Football Stories.
The soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood.
Please, don't talk about me when I'm gone.